there was a politician who ran on a slogan that the rents were too damn high. And it's very interesting if you go back and you do the research on that politician who ran on the slogan that rents were too damn high. Come to find out, his landlord was gracious to him and allowed him to stay at a subsidized low to free rate if he just helped out around the building. And the landlord was very gracious to him. And when that politician was questioned, why were you complaining that the rents were so high if your landlord gave you assistance? And the politician, like most politicians, he says, well, I was just trying to speak for the people. Well, if you're trying to speak for the people, speak from your own personal experience, which was your rent wasn't too damn high. Maybe your income was too low, and maybe you just weren't grateful. But let's talk about present time. Let's talk about today. Today in America, the average income is around $50,000 to $60,000 per year. So right there, that's the average. That take-home pay is around $3,000 a month. So before we talk about if the rents are too damn high, you have to ask yourself, is your income too damn low? Because maybe you're making below average income. There's nothing wrong with that. You work your way up, and there's some people that only have a certain level of potential. But the average person has the potential if they put effort and work into their life, if they're consistent and they show up to work even when they don't want to, over time they'll build up to around $50,000, $60,000 a year, and they'll make around $3,000 a month. For those who quit their jobs, who don't show up, who don't go the extra mile, that don't get certifications along the way, they're going to make below average income. Their income is going to be too damn low. And let's talk about the average rent in America. The average rent in America is $1,200 per month. That's the average. Now, you can live in the country and you can live in a little studio apartment and you can probably get lower. Certainly you're not going to get a big house for $1,200 depending on what part of the country you're in. But the average is $1,200 a month. Okay. So if you took home the average pay, which is just over $3,000 a month, your rent around $1,200 a month, that's kind of, close to 50% of your income, which is a little high. You want your rent or your mortgage to be around no more than 35 to 40% max of your pay. Okay, now, if you're making the average salary and you're doing DoorDash and you're doing Uber and you're doing a creative venture, you're cleaning houses, you're walking dogs, you're painting fences. For the beginning of my career, I did electrical work and I did electrical work on the side. Okay, I did side jobs on the weekend and I worked during the weekdays. And for 5 years, I went to school at night to get certifications. And so you can do overtime, you can do side work. Again, there's so many things you can do, especially in the gig economy. But if, again, you quit your job and you make DoorDash, Uber, or walking dogs your full-time job, there's nothing wrong with that, but your income is going to be too damn low for the average life. So you say, okay, well, that's why I'm watching you, because I want to be a nomad. Well, number one, the nomadic life is very unstable. So what I can tell you is living on the road is hard for most people, okay? Living in truck stops, living in campgrounds, yes, it's exciting. Yes, it's liberating, but most people can't do it because most people can't even show up to work. Okay. And if you do it, it's going to take a wear on you. You're not going to have your landlord to blame. You're going to only have you to blame. What's going to happen is you're going to blame the person that parks too close to you and bumps their music, or you're going to blame the campground person who came with all their dogs and they're not walking dogs. But for some people, it's still a great option. But what I always tell you is, guys, if you can physically and mentally do it, secure your bag. Get your income up. Build your career. DoorDash is not a career. Uber is not a career. It's a side hustle. You can make it a career if you want, but you're always going to have below average income. If you say to yourself you're physically or mentally not able to make average income, then you have to realistically look at your life. Are you willing to make the sacrifices that people on the road make? Yesterday, guys, I had a state trooper stop and he swept the whole parking lot. And he said, no one can park here after these hours. We're changing the rules. Okay. Do you want to do that? You want to go to campgrounds, so you're going to pay for campgrounds. You want to go out west and camp in the middle of nowhere, you're going to do that. It's all a matter of sacrifice. It's all a matter of abilities. It's all a matter of how you want to live. Okay? But just like the politician who was a hypocrite because the landlord helped him, his rent wasn't too damn high. He was actually doing great. Okay? So your rent may be too high. Your mortgage may be too high. Well, stop bitching about it. Sell your house or sacrifice and live on the road. And at a certain point, no one cares because you have to figure out your life. Okay. And that is the message. Because you follow a politician who tells you the rent's too damn high when his ass had a low ass rent and he had high income. Okay, so you have to look beyond the surface. And buying an inverter Jackery battery pack is not preparing yourself to live on the road. Go outside and sleep in your backyard, okay? That's preparing you for on the road, okay? And if that doesn't make it, guys, you're not going to be comfortable living on the road. You're going to have moments of great joy, liberation. For some people, it's great. But if you can't deal with adapting, if you can't deal with discomfort, guys and girls, it's a different monster. Get an Airbnb. Call it a day. If you need a subsidy, get a subsidy. If you need a roommate, get a roommate. Everything's a sacrifice. If you can't afford the rent because your income's too low, then you have to figure out how do you subsidize your rent. You're either going to do it through a roommate, through a government assistance if you apply for it, if you qualify. You're going to do it through living with relatives. And then I have plenty of people that come on channel and say, I hate living with my relatives. Well, hey guys, look, got two choices. Okay. Come live out here. There's plenty of room in the parking lot. You got a couple choices. But no choice is just complaining. Because they're not going to lower the rent so you can live good on $1,000 a month. Okay? And what I could tell you is even if they did, like the politician who screamed the rent was too high, the landlord lowered his rent, all he had to do was some work around the house. He didn't want to do the work. So, look, guys, I wish all of us were millionaires. Okay? Never had to work. But it's not reality. Okay? So, shit or get off the pot. Stop complaining or change your life. Okay. Because if the rents go up, it means your income can go up if you put effort into your life. And you get a little lucky and you get a little help. But the more you help yourself, the more people want to help you. You don't put effort. You're not willing to deal with a bad delivery and then keep delivering. You're not willing to deal with a bad day at work and then keep showing up. If you're not willing to do that, guys, no life is going to be easy. Okay? Because what are you going to do when things aren't good on the road? Things are not always good on the road. Things are not always good in the house. Okay. So this message, okay, is that, look, let's continue to look for ways that we can improve society and make things more fair. But I'm not going to listen to a politician whose landlord made his life more fair, and he was unthankful, ungrateful. Okay. So that's the message. Okay. Knocked it out in 8 minutes. Why? Because, guys, there's no need to stretch it out, okay? And there's no need, okay, to say that you don't like your life, but you're not willing to change your life, okay? Now, if you're that type of person, your life's not going to get better. You got to work on your income. That means main job, which is a career, which means you want to go in a trade, plumber, electrician, car mechanic. You want to go in the medical field, nurse, caretaker, doctor, whatever, eye doctor, whatever, anesthesiologist. You want to go in the IT, project manager, infrastructure manager. You want to go into basic jobs and work your way up, security job officer. Okay. You know, whatever. But you start now, you keep showing up, and you get better as you go. Your income goes up. And then you got more options to change your rent. Okay. But I've seen people try to get out of poverty by shopping at the Dollar Tree. And guess what, guys? Doesn't work because you got to get your income up. Okay. Side hustles and main hustles. Side hustles and main hustles. Remember, when you leave your main hustle for a side hustle, it's like leaving your main chick for your side chick. Guess what happens? Not good long term. And if you can't handle either or, you got bigger problems. Thank you, Charles. Wise words. Thank you, Charles. Give these young bucks some truth. Well, young and old, because I got middle-aged and old people all saying the same thing. That rent's too damn high. And I'm not mad at them. But do something about it like I did. Keep a job, get side hustles, show up every day. Then sacrifice living on the road. Cop knocks on your door at night. You be nice to him. You keep your mouth shut and you keep it moving. Psychopath pulls up next to you. You don't holler at him. You say, fuck, but you start your car and you keep it moving. You spend more in gas. You spend more in food. You don't have air conditioning. You don't have heating. You got bugs. You got car maintenance. And you go back to your parents' house. You go back to begging your landlord. And your landlord was nice to you. The rent is not too damn high. Your income's too damn low. And if your rent is too damn high, do something about it or else you're not an adult. That's it. Guys, I didn't make the world. I'm living in the world, and I'm telling you what I did. Okay. You should be more concerned about that, okay, than about a battery inverter pack, getting your mail on the road. You can't even pay your bills now. Don't worry about the mail on the road. Okay. And if you haven't ever lived in a state, I had a girl today, says she wants to go from Minnesota to Arizona, never been to Arizona. Ask me about how the job market is there. I said, I'm not in Arizona. What type of... So I tell you right now, she should stay in Minnesota. As horrible as Minnesota is, it's horrible. It's a shithole, I hate to say it. Good people from Minnesota. I met them on channel. But this is what I mean. This is the mindset of they have a mental disability. They like their own comment. Like they leave a comment, and as soon as I look at the comment, someone liked it. I said, well, let me think. That must be them liking their own... I'm not mad at them, like their own comment. But I'm saying to myself, you know, I'm not mad at you patting yourself on the back, but you're not mentally ready to do something dramatic and risky, such as living on the road. It's a simple life. It's not, you don't need to be a rocket scientist, but you have to be an adult and mature to deal with the stresses of, again, do you have a temperament where you can deal with a cop, where you can deal with a psychopath and not lose your cool? If not, stay in your apartment and bitch about the rent. Change only happens if you make the change, and then you don't complain and you take responsibility if it goes right or wrong. Okay. That's it. You're in a first world country. Okay. So I don't know what other way it is. Okay. So yes, Canada's got universal health care, but guys, I know broke people with health care now. Guess what? Still don't matter. Okay, still didn't really change their life. Okay. I know people getting $1,000 a month on disability, on Social Security. They're still dead broke because their income's too damn low. But then again, if that's your case, you go on subsidized housing. If not, that's not your case, then you go and you work towards the average income and you figure out life. But nothing happens unless you do some stuff. You make mistakes, you fail, you keep learning, you keep persevering. Everything else is a bullshit session. It's a therapy session. It's a whining, it's a bitching, it's a moaning. Some of the moans and the bitches may be right. But guess what, guys? Bernie Sanders is a millionaire. How'd he get there? By showing up every day to be a politician. AOC is on her way to be a millionaire. How? Because she was a bartender, and then she kept working hard to run for office. Bernie Sanders and AOC worked hard to get above average income. Okay? And I support them. I think they got some good theories. I think some of their shit is bullshit. I love the Bernie Sanders meme. I think it's very nice, very funny. Okay? And I don't like Trump. And I understand that corporations get the grip, but I also understand, look, guys, there's a lot of opportunity. Okay. And what I can tell you is, don't be mad at the corporations, work for them. You can work at Walmart, make $15 an hour, and do DoorDash on the side. Now with a main hustle on the side hustle, you're up to $3,000 a month. Because you can easily make $15 an hour at Walmart, okay? And that'll take home around $1,600. Okay. Then you can easily on the side make at least another $1,000 on the side doing DoorDash, Uber, Instacart. Now you're up to $2,600. Okay. And you can figure out, do you want to live in a car? Do you want to rent an Airbnb? Do you want to do a roommate? Okay. Now this is it. Basic. Don't make it complicated. Change your life. Don't change it. But what I can tell you guys, this is life. It requires effort. Okay. Every day when you go to the gym, guess what, guys? It requires effort. You don't have to be in shape. I'm not as in shape as other people. Okay. I'm not obese like I used to be. I've been obese. Okay. I've been in debt. Been all these things. Okay. I've had a mortgage. I lived in parking lots. I lived in campgrounds. Okay. Done these things. This experience, not theory. And what I can tell you is, you got to figure out your own life. Okay. Love to you. Paul, I wonder what's a bigger anxiety, the unstableness of the nomad life or financial pressure of renting apartments that some have. Well, like I say, it all comes down to low income, because if you have low income while you're a nomad, you're going to be very unstable. Okay. Because when you have no place to shut off the world for safety, for security, especially, I don't even want to talk about the coronavirus. People would never be able to handle driving an hour to a truck stop. They would lose their mind. And which I did. I did videos of it. And the other thing I would tell you, let's take away the coronavirus and maybe a once in a lifetime thing. If you have low income, living on the word is worse. I've seen people, they've watched my channel, they make videos themselves. They were destitute on the road. Okay. They did okay, but it was hard. And they went back to apartment. So what is better? Living in an apartment with low income. Why? Because when you have low income, your life is volatile. Living in a car only makes it more volatile. Because if you're living in a cheap Airbnb, or if you have a roommate, you can easily be around $1,000 a month, and probably even less if you had a roommate. Okay. And you could just spend all day door dashing, picking up a main job, picking up side, and you can get your income up and you'll be stable. And then once you have stable income, stable savings, then if you want to add adventure, then if you want to add living below your means on the road, then you can add that, because because if you have to get off the road and you don't have a security deposit, if you don't have a savings account, you're done. You don't want to leave the rent life, be the nomad life, and then have no way to get back into the regular life. Most people will not live on the road for more than 2 years, which is fine, but you better save enough money to get back into the regular life. That means safety deposit. That means first and last month's rent. That means car repairs. Okay. That means all that. And so if you don't have that, your life will be worse in your car, not better, in my opinion and in my experience. Okay. 4 years living in a car. Never been destitute, because I had a main job before I lived in my car. I lost 200 pounds before I lived in my car. I visited Florida before I came. I did DoorDash when I didn't have to. I do YouTube every day I show up, side hustles. Okay. Some people make a 10-second video, and that's not a side hustle. Okay. That's low effort. And look, guys, I understand life. There's been times in my own life where I've given low effort and I failed. And I have to figure out, well, was my effort bad or am I not? Because I'm not called to do everything. There's been things I said, well, I can't do this. I got to do something else. You keep doing things until you figure out what works for you. Eventually, something sticks. What sticks for me may not stick for you. But nothing requires no effort. Okay? Because the rent's too damn high, because your income's too low, because your effort's too low, because your mindset's too low. Maybe you have a mental or physical disability. Then again, you're on a government subsidy and you are better off in an apartment for 99% of the people. There may be a 1 or 2% exception rate, meaning that there's always outliers. But even an outlier I saw on YouTube, she has mental problems. Okay, she's been in a mental institution. She abandoned her son. And she makes videos once in a while about living in her car, and people follow her. But I said, you don't really know the life. Okay? So that's the message tonight. I'll take a hydration break, read any comments. If not, again, we don't need to stretch out, because I don't want to treat this like daycare. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Paul, for the comments. I appreciate it. Other than that, guys, overall, it's a good day, positive day. I showed up again. I did what I need to do. Got to do some things. Got to find a different spot tonight. Because like I say, things change on the road. You ain't going to always have the same spots. You got to adapt. You got to keep your mouth shut. Okay. And you got to stay compliant. Why? Because that's what the payoff is when you don't have rent. Your rent, okay, is keeping it moving. Your rent's gas. Your rent is not getting comfortable. Okay. Your rent is going to be times of joy, but times of despair. And if you can't handle that volatility, stay comfortable, stay in a stable environment. Charles, what's the status of jury duty? I called last week and they said they'll push it to the next 6 months. They'll postpone it for 6 months, and then they'll like you're entered into like a raffle, and like every 6 months they go, if your number's picked again, you'll get another letter in the mail. So thank God I don't have to do it. It's pushed to another 6 months. So thank you for asking. Thank you for thinking about that. Yeah, that was stressing me out a little bit. So yeah, so like I say, you keep pushing things forward. How do you get through any life? One day at a time. Okay. Because if you can get through tonight, tomorrow's another day, and then you just keep putting those days together. And before you know it, look, it's the end of life. So enjoy the most of your day, make the most of your day. If there's something you don't like about your life, you have to change it. Because if you don't change it, no one else will. Okay? Thank you, Charles. Because remember, guys, I hope they figure out some programs to make society better. I'm always going to be a reformist. Okay? But I always going to be a realist. That there's never going to be one thing that makes your life better without you doing things. You have to do something to figure out your life because you have a different fingerprint than anyone else, than Bernie Sanders, than Donald Trump, than AOC. And again, I want to say Bernie Sanders is a hard worker. He's been a politician for a long time, showed up every day. AOC, hard worker, great campaigner. You, very lazy, low income, not good. So I tell you, follow Bernie Sanders and AOC, work hard. Get your income up. Become a leader in society. Okay? That's a great example. Look, guys, Bernie Sanders and AOC are great examples of hard workers, millionaires. Okay? And that's how they got there. Okay? Busting their ass. Okay? So I think they're harder workers than Donald Trump. Okay? But again, because Donald Trump inherited it, he's more subsidized. But, look, regardless of your political philosophy, I'm trying to make the point that you got to put down the bottle. You got to put down the fucking cigarettes. I saw someone the other day. Well, I know this person. They smoke cigarettes and they drink alcohol and they're scared to get the coronavirus. It's like, I don't want to hear that you're scared to get the coronavirus. Every day you put yourself at risk. Now, if you say, look, I'm not scared to get the coronavirus, then don't be scared. But don't bitch and moan like every day, like, oh my God, I'm scared to get it. Well, stop drinking, stop smoking. You'll lower your risk. Okay? So that's the type of person, and I know they are, that's the type of person that complains the rent's too high. You know what I mean? They make their life more harder. They risk their health. They don't work. They're the ones complaining that rent's too high. Coronavirus going to kill me. Okay. Well, put down the bottle, put down the cigarettes, pick up a side hustle. Okay. You're going to change your life. And if you can't pick up one, at least stop dating a drug addict and fucking laying around all day. Okay. At least if you can't do something, don't do worse. Okay. Don't go negative. Okay. So what I can tell you guys is, look, just life. Okay. We go through life and we have to figure it out. Okay. I smoked cigarettes. I drank alcohol. And I did a lot of things. And when I was a child, I acted like a child. When I became an adult, I put away childish things. Childish city. $5 super chat. People are scared of the corona, but will buy a corona every night. 100 emoji. Thank you, brother, for understanding. The coronavirus is real. Many people have died, but more people have gotten better. But the bottom line is, again, if you're drinking, if you're smoking, if you're not working out, if you're dating unhealthy relationships, don't even worry about the coronavirus. You're killing yourself. Don't even worry about the corona. You're dead. Okay. If you haven't gotten out of your house, okay, in months, don't worry about the coronavirus. Okay? You're going to die anyway. Your body's begging to have a demand. Have you ever gone by a bad neighborhood? Okay. And you see cars in the front yard and they've been sitting there for weeks and months and they look like shit because they haven't been used. Some people's body looks like a house in the countryside or where it's just all these cars sitting in the front yard and they're not doing anything. I looked at a home base. I looked at the neighbor's house. I said, damn, because it was a nice property, perfect for my home base. But I looked at the fucking neighbors. I said, oh my God. They weren't doing anything bad. Like they weren't, like shooting guns or like, doing crazy shit. But I looked at the cars in front of the house and I said, this is a mindset. What type of person has 4 or 5 cars parked in front of their house all over the place? No type of parking etiquette. Like there was no like parking lines. Like they were parked all over the fucking place. And the cars were like rusty, like totally like not even like half. It was like, yeah, they can drive, but it's like there was no care to them. If they don't take care of their car, how do you think they take care of themselves? See, that's a mindset. So then if you have an issue with your neighbor, because you're always going to have an issue with your neighbor. Why? Because, guys, that's the nature of living close to people, even good people. I had great neighbors. I'm very blessed. But there was issues, but we worked them out because, we know we both had to live amongst each other. We work it out. Okay. So you try to work out a problem with someone with like, 5 cars, like one's parallel park, one's sideways, one's got rust falling over. Their mindset's different. Okay. Or they got political flags up. Election was like 2 years ago. That's a different mind. You say, that's why I want to be an RVer. Well, do you know who's an RVer? Okay. People who can't afford a house, people who can't afford rent, okay, and they got low income and now they're in an RV park. That's most of them. There's some retirees and there's some adventure seekers. Most people in RV parks and campgrounds, guys, they're there for a reason. So like I had someone leave a comment the other day, or maybe it was today, and said, rent's too high, I want to live in an RV. Well, if rent's, remember, the same mindset you have is the same reason other people hit the road. So that means your income's low. So now you're going to live in a campground or an RV park with right next to someone else who has the same mind as you. Their income's too low. They don't want to pay rent. Maybe they got dogs like you. Maybe they talk like you. Maybe they stand outside their RV. They drink, they smoke just like you. Okay. So now, guess what? You're living a nomad life. Okay. That's the reality. Okay. There's no drone in reality, guys. There's no drone flying over the campsite. Okay. Now, again, like, guys, look, there's great parts about nomad life. Great part about apartment life. Most of you people watching right now from an apartment or house, you don't have to go after this, go to the gym, take a shower, find a place to park, possibly deal with a knock, or go to a campground, possibly have to deal with bad neighbors at a campground. Because, guys, if people aren't destitute living at a campground, you know what they're there to do? They're there to party on the weekend or drink or so. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so look, the nomad life is great. Look, the conforming life is great. But nothing is great if your income is too low. Don't hit the road if your income's too low. Focus on raising your income. If you're laid off, which I've been, if you're in a bad position, do something. Do more of your side work. If you can't do something, get more subsidy. That's the only way. There's very clear choices. You can do for yourself, then you do. If you can't do for yourself, you live with someone else, or you try to get government assistance. That's it. Okay. So it's like, don't make it more complicated. Do I have the capacity to do something? Let me try. If you don't, then you're going to live in someone else's house and their rules. Or you're going to be living, guys, you think a campground's bad, but it doesn't matter. For you, it may be good. So what I want to share with you is my experience, my perspective. That's what I did. I showed up. Okay, I hope it helps you in some way. If it doesn't, there's nothing I can do. I'm not here to save the world. Okay, and even people that have claimed to be here to save the world, most people didn't listen to them either. So we just do what we can. Charles, do you work remotely from a laptop? Yes. And make Starbucks your office? Not Starbucks, not after the coronavirus. My car is my office or a public park. Okay, so what's the difference between being in a cubicle and your car working on a laptop? Nothing. Okay, what's the difference between working remote and in an office? Well, you're measured by task. If you work remote, you know you're tracked by a task. You're not just saying, all right, do whatever you want. There's tasks given to you. Okay, so those tasks are monitored by the time, by the output, by the completion date, etc. Okay, so every job, most people that go to office, what they found on the coronavirus is, guys, you go to office, most people go to office, they go to their desk, and then they go in the bathroom, they take a shit, they're walking around, they're bullshitting. You're actually just showing up at an office in some regards is easier than working remote, because when you're working remote, everything's measured pretty much by a dashboard of tasks. Okay, your time, your output, etc. Okay. And the only reason I was able to work remote is because I worked for the same company for 10 years. I worked overtime. I showed up when no one else wanted to. I was consistent, and every year I had a good review. Okay, so if you haven't worked for the same company for 10 years and every year have a good review, and before that have another 15 years of experience, guys, don't worry about working remote. Okay, because you got to start somewhere. Okay. You know, it's like I always tell people, like, if you can't even accept most of your DoorDash deliveries, don't even worry about working remote. Okay. So, what I tell you guys is I can only share my experience, okay? My experience is not everyone's experience. So when I tell people if they got a different experience, create a YouTube channel as a side hustle, upload every day. I practice what I preach. Not just upload of you barking in a phone, which I'm doing now. Go to RV parks, go to campgrounds, travel. Okay. Do videos of content. Okay. And no one is stopping you from being a creator other than you. No one is stopping you from door dashing other than you. No one is stopping you from showing up as a security guard, as a project manager, as an electrician, as a plumber, as a nurse, as a caretaker, as a babysitter, as a lawnmower, as a house cleaner. No one is stopping you other than you. Everyone has that opportunity. If you don't want to take the opportunity, that's fine. If you can't do it, that's fine. Then you live on a certain way. And that is life. No other way around it. You can go to a million therapists, and some of them may bullshit you because they're getting paid by the hour, either by you or by the government. And that's what it is. Sissy Taylor, $3 super chat, damn it. Thumbs up to you. I appreciate it. Shout out to you, Sissy Taylor. Love to you. Got a cute profile picture there. Keep it up. Thank you for the positive love. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Child of C. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate the members and the super chats. Thank you. You don't show up, you don't get a super chat. Okay. And even if you do show up, you're not entitled to a super chat. Why? Hey guys, look, when you sign up for YouTube, you're a free entertainer. If you work your way up, maybe you'll get monetized. You have to do it free for a year. If you connect with some people through your effort, then maybe you'll get a tip. Okay. But I don't know if you've ever worked tip work. Whether you do side work, whether you do a waitress, whether you do whatever, whether you do DoorDash, pizza delivery. I did pizza delivery back in the day too. There's no guarantee you get a tip. So if you deliver something, you don't get a tip, you don't bitch. Okay. Why? Because that's your job. And that's why it's a side hustle. Okay. Not a main hustle. There's no guarantee. Okay. Charles, how should someone work their resume? You should start with your you should have it in a format. You should look at a template. Every document starts with a template. You can go online, you can find resume templates. The structure is key. You want it clear, you want it simple, and you want a bullet point. Your top should be your name, your email address, your telephone number. Next is the objective. My name is Charles. I am looking for a job as a project manager in the IT industry. Experience. Then you list your experience with bullet points. Then under that, you list your certifications with bullet points. Then under that, you list your software programs that you're familiar with. Salesforce, CAD, Visio, etc. Okay. And if you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, then, it's like you have to tailor it to your specific search engine, what you're looking for. You have to have the experience, and you have to tailor fit it to the job application summary. Every job posting has a description of what they're looking for. There's keywords. You have to modify your resume in that template structure I just said, and then add those keywords, because most of the resume filtering is done through an algorithm that is looking for keywords to add up to other keywords. And then you have to follow up. You have to call. I've done this. You have to call. You have to research the corporate office line. You have to call them, then you have to contact someone in HR, and then you have to follow up with them 2-3 times just to get a phone interview. And then you go from there. Charles, should someone create a LinkedIn account? You should have had one 2 years ago. Okay. So to create it tonight, you should create it yesterday. Okay. If you want to be in the networking of, whatever industry. Now look, it's just one small tool. Being on LinkedIn is not going to get you a job, but people are going to ask, what's your LinkedIn profile possibly, and they want to look. Okay? And it's going to show that you just created it. You say, well, that's going to look bad. I just created it. Well, if you create it today, tomorrow it's a 1 day old. It's like, so start now, and then tomorrow you got experience. So now if you're close to retirement, or if you don't need it, then your age and what you're looking to do determines a lot of what I'm saying tonight. Okay. But as you get older, your income potential goes down. And as you go older, you have to live off what you have produced over your working career and whatever you've built up in Social Security. But that's why I tell people younger and middle age, if you're slothing now, if you're being lazy now, it only gets harder as you get older. Okay? Because rents and inflation always go up. Okay? So it's like, it's like the average Social Security is $1,500 a month. If the average rent's $1,200 a month, guess what? But if you didn't really put any effort into your life for 20, 30 years, and then you hit 60 and you want life to be easy, you're delusional. I hope it is easy, because I'm a compassionate person. I would say, look, everyone over 60, but look, people over 60 that can't afford it, they'll get subsidized housing. There's been people on my channel that they do it. So it is what it is. It's like, there's other ways to skin a cat, but it's not going to be your life on your terms. Okay? And all of us, guys, not my life on my terms, even living on the road. Like last night, I got a knock on my door. Is that my no? So did it make me reevaluate my home base? Yeah. And I'm looking at everything. Okay. But I also know enough that I don't make emotional decisions. Okay. And I also still have my goals and my tracking, and I'm also willing to move and not argue. Okay. So, like I tell Coconuts, he should have been in Florida 2 months ago. You should have a LinkedIn account 2 years ago. But we don't go backwards, we go forward. So we start tonight, we start now. You should have a LinkedIn account. You should have a DoorDash account. You should have an Uber account. You should have a side jobs. You should have a pizza delivery. You should have every fucking thing you can do and still focus on good self-care. Mockingbird, $5 super chat. Thank you. Everything you just said was never talked about in school. Scary thought. Well, yeah, but I went to the same public schools as you. That's even scarier. So the best thing is you got the internet now. But instead of looking up MILF porn, instead of looking up YouTube's living in your car, look up resume building. Okay? Look up building your career. Look up managing a budget. Look at improving your mental, physical health. So which you have a jump on, because I went to the same public schools as most people. Just about everyone I know. The same people in my house that went to the same public schools as me, they're living on government assistance. So school system is not the answer. And that's why I challenge anyone that says, well, it's the school system. Nope. Why? Because I went to the same school as my siblings, and they're both on government assistance. It's not school system. It's effort. It's personality. Some of it's God-given. Okay. But you got the internet now, which is the ultimate equalizer. You can get any information you want. But most people are watching fucking TikTok of fat cats falling off a couch. And that's why their mental health is a disaster. That's why they smoke, they drink, they drain a drug addict. And they got no side hustles, they got no main hustle. And they complain the rent's too high. Waste their life. Charles. Artists might want to think about creating a website to show their profile. Well, artists may want to think about a steady source of income. Because there's a quote that says starving artist. The reason they say that is because artists very tough to make money creatively. Even this is a creative venture. And guess what, guys? Couldn't live off this. Okay? And you damn sure couldn't live on it for a year or two before you even get monetized. So have a main job. It's going to be something you don't like. I hated construction. Okay? But guess what, guys? I hated living with other people. Guess what, guys? I hate being broke. Okay? So sometimes I even hate living in a car. But I also hate living in a house. And so I try to balance out what I like best. If you are not willing to do something you don't like to do, your life will always suck. Because the only time you create great art is when you persevere through great pain. You will never make great art when you're sitting there in your cozy place or your shitty place and all you do is complain. Great art is formed through great trials and tribulations. That's where all the masterpieces are painted. That's where all the Bibles are written, in the fiery experience of effort. You can't fake that. You can't fake a Picasso. And you don't create a Picasso drinking cognac, smoking weed. Okay? And if you do, you're going to fuck up your money. Why? Because, guys, you got to be on point. Okay? Because even if you make some money, then you got to keep it. And I made that mistake too. This is life. It requires some sweating, some intensity, Charles. My dad made me work at Taco Bell when I was younger. I hated it. But it improved my work ethic. Look, that's right. I didn't. My dad never made me go to Taco Bell. I went to Taco Bell. Well, not Taco Bell. I went to Burger King. I went to McDonald's. I went to a gas station. Okay. Why? Because, guys, I always wanted to work. Not because I wanted to work. I wanted independence. Sissy Taylor, $5 super chat. Keep it up. You have slapped my ass off. Thank you, Sissy. Love to you. Appreciation to you. Thank you very much. I put a lot of effort as best I can for what I can do. Thank you for the appreciation. Thank you, Charles. Okay. Thank you, Mockingbird. Thank you, Sissy, again. Thank you, Child of Sea. And thank you, Paul. I appreciate it, and I don't take it for granted. I'm not entitled to it. Thank you. What I could tell you, guys, you can make $3,000 a month working at McDonald's and doing Uber on the side or doing DoorDash on the side, and then you're at average income. And then even if you had a $1,200 a month rent, if you managed your money right, you'd be able to still get ahead. You have to be very tight, but you can figure it out. Okay. And then look, guys, there's no way you work at Taco Bell, you show up for 3 years and you do a good job and you don't get in trouble. There's no way you're not going to be a manager. And then if you work there for 6 years, there's no way you're not going to be an area director. Okay. Because, guys, there's even when unemployment's high, good workers are hard to find. But the problem is you got to start, you got to keep showing up, you got to stay out of trouble. Okay, you can't quit every time things get tough. And then as you get older and you build your career, you build your experience, life gets easier because you got more equity in the workforce. You're more valuable because you've proven that you can show up. You got experience, you got knowledge, you got people skills. But when you don't do anything, you don't have people skills, you don't have perseverance, you don't have a track record, you don't have a resume. And then, it doesn't matter how you structure the resume. Because when you got nothing to put in the resume, it's like, well, what am I going to do? Start now. Start now and refine it as you go. Sometimes I go back and say, well, let me redo this thumbnail. Or let me redo this. Let me redo that. Start now and refine it as you go. Whatever you're going to do in life. Okay. And again, you get to decide. You want to rent, you want to buy, you want to nomad. You get to decide. There's no perfect life. There's a best life. And it may include one of the three or whatever. But your dreams don't work if you don't work. Nothing is going to be good if your income's too low. There's no life. Because there's no independence. Okay. You can still live, guys, some of the best people I know, they got very low income. But they're still good people. Okay. Doing the best they can. But some people that got low income, very bad people, low character. I measure people by the content or character. However, one of my goals is to max out my potential. Okay. I say live below your means, but up to your potential. Okay. And you're never going to know your potential until you do stuff and fail and keep doing stuff. Your potential will not be revealed to you at midnight going to heat up a DiGiorno pizza, having a Corona. Surfing online, looking at inverter packs that you can buy while you boondock in Arizona. That's not when the bag's gonna come to you. Okay. Because what I could tell you is, guys, people living that life, they're destitute or they're retired. They put in the work. There's only two type of people, guys, living the nomad life, and especially in that type of way. They are either retired, and they got the money, or they're destitute. Okay. Or they're doing it as a side hustle, it's a creative thing, or they're doing it as a bridge. Okay. Which that's the reason I did the nomad life, was for a bridge from New Jersey to Florida. Okay. Cut my expenses and then figure it out. And now I'm in this dynamic where I'm trying to figure out, do I want to go back into conforming life? Because no life is perfect, and I've accomplished kind of what I want. I know I can get a home base here and have half of my living expenses versus New Jersey. And I want to live in Florida, but I don't like commitment. I don't like entanglement. So the other option may just be RV and deal with some of the hassles of campgrounds and RV parks. But I don't know. But either way, guys, I'll figure it out. And as I figure it out, I'll make a video every day. As long as it's worth it. So that's what I tell you, Charles. Life rewards consistency for sure, no doubt. Like I say, guys, even though I did starve myself when I lost a lot of weight at times, I would have never maintained a healthy lifestyle if I was trying to figure out consistency. I went from obesity to anorexia, and then I was trying to figure out, well, how do I sustain this weight loss while still enjoying some extra calories, but without eating like Chipotle? Like I just had almond peanut butter or like whole grain crackers. Okay. Back in the day, that it would have been a Wendy's sandwich. It would have been like, sprinkles on chocolate chip and ice cream. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of like at the same way with this cheap life, with this nomad life. I went from living in a gated community in New Jersey, and my monthly expenses just for my house were $2,500, to now, if I didn't include food, I would say it's at least at $1,000 to $1,200 to be on the road a month, not including food, for how I want to live. If you stay in one parking lot and you don't do anything, you can do it for cheaper. I don't live that life. And so now I'm figuring out, well, if I wouldn't spend as much as food if I had a home base, and I could probably end up with the same budget. But then I lose some of the adventure of it. So I am now what I was a few years ago when I was trying to balance my eating habits. I went from one extreme to another, and I'm trying to figure out what's the balance for me. But I figured it out while keeping an income, and that's why I lived in my car in New Jersey for 2 years. Okay. It wasn't a gimmick. It was a reason to keep the income high. Okay. And I picked up side hustles. Why? Because the income won't always be high. I've been laid off. Okay. And so the side hustles will be a bridge to the next step. You're not going to see every step. Like Martin Luther King said, faith is taking the first step without seeing the entire staircase. Like the Bible says, faith without works is dead. So if you're unemployed and you've been unemployed and you have the ability, your faith is dead. It's faithless. You're a fraud. Okay. And you know what it is. So, look, guys, some people got disabilities again, some people don't. You always have to figure it out. Charles, what do you do when you burn out from a hustle? Self-care. Wake up early, go to the gym. There's a lot of people that got burnt out from work and now they sit at home and their mental health and their physical health and their skill sets is even worse because they don't manage their time. Your life doesn't get better until you learn to wake up early when you don't have to, work out when you don't have to, stay active and productive when you don't have to. It's like if you get burned out, then you can't do the opposite and do nothing. What you have to figure out is balance. So if you were working 80 hours a week, like Pluto was telling me he's working 80 hours a week. I did that one time. I told him he got cut back. Challenger the Welder was investing too risky. I said, take some of that risk off the table. When you're burnt out, that means you're out of balance. But to get back in balance doesn't mean you stay, you go to the other extreme. You got to find balance. I'm trying to find balance now with my living situation. I went from one extreme to another. I went from gated security townhome to living in a parking lot. And for a reason, for a purpose. I wasn't shadow boxing. Okay. And now that that's accomplished, I'm figuring out balance, just like your weight. So, but if you don't have a target and while you figure it out, you do stuff. Okay. So, you can never outthink depression. You can never outthink rent. Okay. Doers make mistakes, but people who don't do shit don't get shit done. And they are forever subject, to the roommate, to the landlord, to the other people that have put in the work. Okay. And just like the politician from New York who bitched about the rent was too high, his landlord gave him the opportunity not to pay rent, but to work around the complex to get subsidized rent. And he never said that. He never did a political slogan about that. Why? Because he was a fraud. Okay. He was a fraud. That politician was a fraud, man. You fell for the banana and tailpipe. Now, like I said, man, if you learn anything from Bernie Sanders, learn to hustle. He's a millionaire. You learn anything from AOC, learn to be diligent. She's a hard worker. And again, if you need help, you get help. Okay. Or you're not even applying. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Okay. But again, I do reflect on my life, and I've looked at my life, and I said, man, there's been times in my life I was on some either ignorant or immature or uninformed ways of living. Okay. So I don't sit here on a high horse and say you're never going to be in this psychopathic mindset where you're not doing the right thing. I've been there. But even while I've been there, always doing something. Okay. Never just like, nothing. I remember the one time when I was working union construction, and when you get laid off, you collect unemployment. And I waited till the very end, hoping the union was going to get me another job. And I got another job, I think, the last week I had unemployment. And I was like, thank you, God. And I said, never again. I'm never going to wait around. Okay. And that's why eventually, too, look, I left the union. I said, look, I don't want to live that life where I'm working 6 months and then I don't. And look, you work in a corporate world, you work in a private sector, they can lay you off at any time. Every corporate job I've had, you sign a sheet that at any time they can lay you off and at any time you can quit. Just like anything. But the union job it's like, everything has a pro and its con. But what I tell you is it's been harder. What I've seen working in the corporate and the union world is it's harder to fire a person in the corporate world than it was in the union. Okay. So to be honest with you guys, with HR departments and with all the laws on the book, corporations have so much liability. It's so hard for them to fire people. That's why they're cautious to hire people. Because once you're hired, it's hard to get fired. You got to do a lot of bad shit. Now, they can lay you off, but usually when you get laid off, you get a severance package. Okay. So that's your bridge to the next thing. And if you're doing a side hustle and you get a severance package and you got a savings account, it's not nice. I don't wish it on anyone, but you're not destitute. Huh? And, that's how you have to logically think it out. Are there extreme exceptions to everything I'm saying? No doubt. Always exceptions. But there's always the averages. There's always the baseline data. Okay? And there's always, for the most part, in a first world country, there's always something that can be done to at least start the process to better your life. If you have a level of physical and mental ability. And if you don't have the physical and mental ability, I don't know how you found my channel, or I don't know how you even have a YouTube account. Because to me, I always say, if you have the physical and mental ability to create an account or several, why can't you be a telemarketer? Why can't you be a data entry person? Because you're entering data to create a YouTube account. So there's no way you're telling me that you're so mentally damaged that you can't do anything. You got a TikTok account, you got 5 Instagram accounts, you know how to do every fucking filter. See, people, they undersell what their ability is, but they don't want to give enough effort. Because I'll tell you right now, if you're watching me, whether live or the replay, you have some type of skill where you were able to create an account, you were able to create an avatar. I know there's some psychopaths don't have avatars, I don't blame you. You were able to interact with technology. So if you could do that, why couldn't you hit accept and do a delivery? Why couldn't you walk a dog? Why couldn't you clean a house? I know someone who clean houses, they get like $100 a house. You clean 2 houses a day, that's like damn near $50,000 a year. Oh, I'm trying to tell you, go to Dollar Tree, go get all the cleaning products for $20. You won't do it. Why? Because you have a problem flushing your own toilet. And you want to live in your car? That's why I tell you, you guys don't want to know what the Planet Fitness toilet bowl looks like at midnight. You're not ready for the nomad life. You're not ready. Blessings to you, how Sky High Final Super Chat. TikTok and most social media for the insecure chicks. You nailed it. Desperate, lazy dudes work hard every day. Yep, and they love the insecure chicks. Because TikTok and Instagram and even YouTube for the hot nomads, it's all about men going their own way or men that never got pussy and they see one hot girl and the view count is out the wazoo. Guys, if I was a hot girl, I'm a hot guy, but if I was a hot girl, guys, I would have all the views. Why? That's the ticket. However, you better make your money when you look good. Why? Because, guys, you don't stay hot. Okay, that's truth. I did a few meals. Charles and Coconuts, take a breath. Damn it, brother, I'm on fire tonight. Good to see you, man. Charles, film your skills, sell it online, and teach it. Nah, earn your money in private. Secure a savings account. Only share your life publicly once you have a savings account and a steady income. Creativity pays low, and sacrificing your privacy is a calculated high risk. Okay, no one wants to buy paintings. No one even wants to buy this. Okay, so it's the only reason. Okay, what I could tell you is, look. Creativity pays very little, but use that skill set in a stable job and then do your creative gift on the side. If you're trying to sell your stuff online, whether it's the gift of gab, whether it's your tits, whether it's your paintings, whether it's your music. And my mom worked 2 jobs, minimum wage, and she sung on church on the weekend. She loved to sing at church. Okay, but it was side hustle money. Okay, she couldn't raise 3 kids on that. Okay, that was her passion. That was part of the reason too. Like my parents kind of got divorced because my father was like, "You shouldn't be singing on the weekend." She said, "That's why I'm alive." But she knew you have to have a steady income because you're never going to sing, you're never going to paint, you're never going to give the spoken word and truth if you don't have other sources of income. How many times have you guys been on my live feeds and I have to turn away money for the truth that I live? Doesn't mean I'm always right. But I don't do that if I solely depend on YouTube. There's no way. There's no way your creative gifts come alive when you depend on them solely for your money. Very rare. There may be some exceptions, very rare. So what I'm telling you is something that's going to help your creative hustle. Because when you have a main hustle and then you want to sell your creative hustle, you creative as a motherfucker. You know what I mean? Because you're free. Creativity is your free inner ambitions. But creativity, even creativity has to be structured. You know, like you have to have a video schedule time. You have to have a structure to your business model. Creative people are usually bad business people. So you have to structure even creativity. Everything in life requires a level of balance. Because if there's high creativity, that means there's low structure. If there's high structure, that means there's a lack of flexibility, low creativity. You have to find the balance. Okay. But guys, you can't balance when you try to figure out like how you're going to pay rent, how you're going to eat. Okay. And if you think you're going to figure all that out living in a Mazda, in a parking lot, you're on some other shit. Okay. And many people have tried. I don't know any who have done it long term and succeeded without securing the bag first or without getting off the road. Okay. I don't know anyone. And if you name anyone famous, the reason you're naming them is because they secured the bag. Okay. Bob Wells is the Bernie Sanders of the nomads. This guy didn't just sit back. What he did was capitalize off the nomad life. He created an LLC. He created a nonprofit. He created the RTR. He sold merchandise. He sold ads. He has a website. He has a book. This guy is the hardest hustler in the... So, you guys aren't seeing the big picture. Coconuts, $12 super chat. Living a vida loca. Well, damn it, brother. We living that crazy life. Damn it, let's take a hydration break. Coconut, shout out to you, man. I appreciate that very much. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I'm doing the best I can. Thank you very much, Coconuts. Very gracious of you. Stock market opens up again tomorrow. Okay. So remember, everyone dabbling in the stock market, remember, that's the same thing as a creative hustle. If you don't have a main hustle and if you don't have a savings account, you're going to take too much risk in the stock market. You're going to have emotional and mental and possibly physical damage to yourself. Remember, lower your risk. Remember, if you have a steady job, if you have a savings account, and if you've paid off your debt, if you make money in investments, it's side money. It doesn't have to be your livable money, okay? That will keep you being able to do it long term. Now, have I made mistakes? Definitely. And I'm sharing them with you. I took too much risk when I didn't have to. Now, I learned a lot of lessons, which is good. But as you get older, you have to take those lessons, try to learn, and lower your risk. Good job. Charles. Thank you, Coconuts. Fires. Charles, I think you just burned 1,000 calories. Me too. That's some serious passion. Thank you very much, Charles. Thank you. And thank you, Coconuts. Thank you, everyone. You've been very gracious. Thank you. Hal, I got a call back from Walmart. Good. In Hilton Head, South Carolina. Very nice area. Big money area. A lot of tourists. $11 an hour. Okay, good. She said she will hire me for full time, but she doesn't think it's worth it to relocate down here. Most people who do work have 2 jobs. Well, one is I wouldn't hire you because if you don't live in South Carolina, I wouldn't hire you. I went through that with Florida. Is that I looked at if I didn't get a job transfer, what would it be like to secure a job in Florida? Number one is what I learned is if you don't have a Florida address and if you're not currently living in Florida, you're at the back of the list unless you have an extreme skill set. Okay. So look, $11 an hour is not worth relocating unless you want to live there. But if I would give you $25 an hour now to live in Brooklyn and you didn't want to live in Brooklyn, that's not worth it. The first step of life is to figure out where you want to live and then how do you produce an income there. So if you want to get out of Brooklyn, if you want to live on your own now, if you want to get away from, then the $11 is worth it. You do the 11-hour Walmart job and you do DoorDash on the side. I did DoorDash in Beaufort, South Carolina. So, and you can definitely make $1,000 a month doing that on the side, no doubt. So, if you don't know why where you want to live, that's where the nomad life is an option. But the nomad life is only an option if you're working as you're going. So that question only you can answer. I knew I wanted to live in Florida. So I sold my house and lived in my car in New Jersey for 2 years to secure the bag. I was ready to go. Okay. So if you're not ready to go, and if you don't have $5,000 in a savings account, you're not ready to go. You got to have $5,000 in a savings account before you change states. Now, can you do it on less? Yes, it's going to be more stressful, though, and it's going to be higher risk. Good job. How? I would start a new life anywhere. Well, not without a savings account and not without visiting it first. Because Hilton Head is nice, but you got to visit. Like I say, you can say you want to go to Ocala, Florida, but if you never visited, you don't know it. You got to visit first. Like I had a viewer today. She's from Minnesota. She talking about she's going to go to Arizona and asking me about how much does DoorDash pay there. I said, well, one is I don't know why you're going to Arizona if you've never been there and you're estimating a budget and you've never delivered there. Guys, look at my early videos. I visited Florida before I made the commitment to come here, before I sold my house. I had to get a feel for it. And even now, like I'm still discovering things about Florida. But I'm a lot more, that's why I always tell coconuts, I practice what I preach. I tell coconuts, don't buy a house in Florida until you live here for a couple years. Okay. So your decision, Hal, is one is you have to start something. But you also have to figure out where do you want to go in life. Now, this is what I would tell you. What you should probably do is get a job at Walmart in Brooklyn, work it for 6 months to a year, show up every day and stay out of trouble. Then you can get a job transfer like this at Walmart. You can get a job transfer like this at Starbucks. I know people who work at Starbucks in Florida in the winter, and then they go to New Jersey in the summer. I see them. I saw them this year. So, but that's why I tell you guys, start now and refine as you go. If I was you, because based on what I know, is that I would take a Walmart job in Brooklyn. I would work it for a year, show up every day, stay out of trouble, and then I would get a job transfer next fall. That's what I would do. Nearest in New Jersey or Valley Stream. What about Starbucks? What about Target? What about any big chain? This is where you use your creativity, right? What about Big Lots? What about any box chain that you could start for $10 to $12 an hour and that is by your house? Because if you're in Brooklyn, you got to have one box chain. I mean, that's a populated city. Got to. You got to have a Starbucks. You got to have a Dunkin' Donuts. Okay. You can work, guys, you can get work done and get a job transfer. Time to make the donuts. I remember that commercial when I would wake up for work and work construction and all the construction guys at Dunkin' Donuts. Time to make the donuts. I hated it, but it was time to secure that bag because your life don't change unless you change. Okay. And does it suck? Yeah. But does it get better after you keep showing up? Yep. YouTube gets better. Your main job gets better. Everything gets better when you show up more because you build up your income. But it only starts when you start. Okay. And that's the best advice I can give to you. Good job. All right. I think I read all the comments. Thank you again, Hal. I love you. Coconuts, you're so gracious to me. Thank you. I hope Tesla continues to go up for you. Charles, good questions tonight. Thank you. Sky High, thank you very much for that super chat and a comment. Sissy Taylor, you're very gracious. 2 super chats. Thank you and gratitude towards you. Mockingbird, I want to thank you. Child of C, thank you. And Paul, thank you. I believe I read everyone. And if I didn't, please forgive me, but I believe I got everyone. I want to thank you. Coconuts, drop that mic custom emoji. I appreciate you. Hal, thank you for understanding, brother. Love to everyone. One day at a time, one step at a time. Go to sleep early, wake up early, stay productive unless you're working in the night shift. And if you're not good with people, work the night shift. I did it. And let me tell you something, guys. Do what you got to do with what you can do. Peace.